All is one reflections. All is one.
All is one,
Welcome,
everyone.
welcome. I'm gonna see if people coming in, give people some chance, a little chance to come in, a little time
Mm-hmm.
before we do our introductions. Give me a second. Happy Friday the what? 13th. Happy Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th.
I remember as a kid, I used to be so excited, like, ooh, Friday the 13th. Let me go get some candy and my snacks and go to the corner store. And then I used to go home and watch for all the Friday the 13th, which I should not have been watching as a kid, okay? And been
Right.
scared to get up and use the bathroom at night, okay? But that was like one of my favorite childhood memories of like Friday the 13th.
I just might do that tonight. Find some good scary movies.
It's the season.
Mm-hmm.
It is a season. I was asking, are y'all in here? Y'all here? Y'all here? Because I could go on a tangent. Sorry. Let's get back focused. Okay. I was about to tell y'all a story, and the story is going to be like 15 minutes. All is one reflections. All is one. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Welcome to our self love and parenting live. I am Priestess Omo Sule. I am one of the goddaughters of the Reverend Priestess Oshun Funke Iyanifa. I am also a staff member at the Risha Hoodoo Institute. And we have some lovely priestesses here today. You want to go, Priestess Olaia?
Hi, everyone. I am Priestess Olaia Ifajoke. I am a priestess with the Orisha Hoodoo Institute, and I'm so excited to have you all here. All is one, Mika. Priestess Ifajoke, you want to go ahead and introduce?
Yes, all is one. Alafia, everyone. I am Priestess Ifajoke Ogun Leru. I am also a godchild of Reverend Priestess Oshun from K. Iyanifa. I'm happy to be here tonight, ready to chop it up with my sisters.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for being here on this lovely Friday. You could be anywhere watching movies or, doing hood rat stuff with your friends, but you're here
Right.
with us. Thank
Hey.
you. Okay. Because we all love to do hood rat stuff with our friends.
Okay.
Okay. So today we are going to talk about self love and parenting. Thank you, Mika. Mika Media. I see that. See that plug, Mika. Okay. Thank you, Mika. So self-love and parenting. Princess Ola here, do you want to like kick it off?
Okay, so this is our second week doing our self love series. We're doing a total of 6 lives, really focused just around self love. And I felt like it was very important for us to really discuss self love and parenting. I am somewhat of a step parent, I guess you could say. I have a partner who has children, I have a goddaughter. I have a youth engagement program. So, in a lot of ways, when we send our children to these programs, we are entrusting other people to them. So, we expect for them to, go into somewhat of a parenting role. So, it was very important to me to really touch on and discuss self love and parenting, although I have not birthed any children. Because that doesn't really matter, right? Like, we still find ourselves in parenting roles.
Right.
And some of us have multiple children. So I'm getting firsthand experience with raising two children at the same time, two young ones. They're both under the age of 5. Like, literally, they are handfuls, but they're adorable. So I'm getting that firsthand experience on what it's like having multiple children that you're raising at the same time, as well as I've been with partners who have had one child. So I know what that one-on-one parenting can look like. And also, I've just taken a very big notice that self-love isn't always incorporated in all areas of our life. So tonight we're going to really focus on and talk about and discuss what that actually looks like for us. What does self-love and parenting actually look like? What does it not look like? And then how does that transmute into the parenting style that we're, displaying for our children to ultimately incorporate when they have children, right? Like, what are the changes? I think we'll also discuss some things about the parenting style and the self-love that maybe we witnessed or didn't witness our parents have. and how that maybe affected us in our parenting style, or what we're trying to take notice of so that we don't carry that forward. So I think today's conversation is going to be really, really great. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it because so important. I support parents. I support single mothers. I support single fathers. And I also support getting the Black family back together. As we know, the Black family has been one of the number one attacks on the Black community, is the Black family and the separation of it. So I definitely support reuniting the Black family, and talking about self-love and parenting is one of those things.
Mm.
Okay.
Everything. I know I
No, that was good. That was a good introduction. Okay, you slid on into home run. Okay, so we're gonna start off with Priestess Ifajoke.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
all right. So tell me about you. All right. So let me not bombard you with questions. You're a mom because you wouldn't be
Yes.
here. And so if you want to talk about that a little bit, and then I want to ask you what has been rewarding so far as a parent, and what has been a challenge as a parent?
So, yes, I'm a mom. I have a beautiful baby girl. Her name is Carmen. She is 7 years old. She will actually be 8 in January, and she tells me every day. I have to remind her that I know your birthday is coming, and I know, but she is very much an Aquarius child. She marched to the beat of her own drum, and but she's a joy. She has so much personality, just all bottled up in this one little bitty body. But yes, I am. That's my sweet baby. That's my one and only. Besides my little fur babies. Um, but as far as what's been most fulfilling goes with parenting, I would say just appreciating the fact that I was chosen specifically for her. Like my daughter, she has her own personality. She has some challenges. Parenting has to be one of the hardest things that I think I've ever done in general. Um, so the fact that I was chosen, she's such a special little girl, and the fact that she chose me and my portal to for her entry into this marketplace, it just, it's super fulfilling every day. Oftentimes I have to sit and reflect as to why she chose me, or why I was chosen, to care for this beautiful little being, and accepting my responsibilities and trying to do the absolute best that I can where she's concerned. And just watching her grow and blossom into her own little being, and just seeing her personality manifest is just, it's fulfilling for me. Just watching the fruits, I would say, of my labor. And then when it comes to the most challenging, it's a lot of challenges, but the most challenging part, I think, for me when it comes to parenting is we've been here, we've lived long enough above our children that we've had a chance and an opportunity to experience a lot in life. So trying to remember that she's her own person, and she has to learn and walk this journey somewhat and figure out who she is and who she wants to be. I find that to be challenging sometimes because, as a mom, a very protective mom, I want to intervene. I want to steer her in certain directions, and she's the child that's going to push back. Because some things I just had to figure out that I have to let her, she may want to pick out something in particular to where I may feel like, girl, that does not match. You got to have some, just trying to instill certain things that I've come to understand about life in her in general. And that the clothes is just an example, but just wanting to steer them in the right direction. And they're adamant about showing their personality. So just allowing her the space to exist sometimes, and me remembering she's her own person. She has her own personality. She has her own style. I am tasked to guide her until she's old enough to guide herself. But I still also have to accept who she is and not push to change much of anything about her, more so just guide her, if that makes sense.
That did. Okay, let's rewind. Let's rewind real fast. Okay. I feel you about, them wanting to wear what they have their
Oh.
own personalities, right? So my younging, my daughter, she is if y'all know her, she's bright and bubbly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so her thing is, she expresses herself through her clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But her thing now is her favorite color is blue. Before it's magenta. I was good with the magenta. I was like, okay, I could do. Now it's blue, and she want to be all matchy matchy. And I had to tell my sister like she up here like she a Crip member or something. Like, girl, I'm glad we're not in LA. Let me tell you, she gonna wear blue on top of blue on
That's
top of blue.
90s.
Okay.
And I was like, and then I had to step back and I was like, you know what? You do you, ma'am. You do you. Your clothes is clean. Okay. It's fitting. You wear what you want to wear, sis. Okay. Just don't start flipping up your hands. Keep your hands. Okay.
Girl, it's so hard.
It is because, and then also too, we can also go on a tangent, but also, when you say that you want to guide, we are here to guide them. It is very true that our experiences are not our children's experiences. And sometimes we tend to project that. I know I used to do that, and I had to like catch myself and be like, whoa, okay. Because we want to be I know I'm a protective mother,
Right.
but also too, they have to experience certain things. But the beautiful thing about it is that they have us to guide them to, so we've experienced things like, I know for a fact, like I had to deal with bullying, and so it was like a trigger for me, like when my daughter was going through her bullying thing, because I also know too, like my daughter and I, she's a reflection of me, but we're also different, right? Because 10-year-old Priestess Omo Sule, we was lining them up, okay? But then my 10-year-old, she's never been in a fight. She's
right.
Like, and I'm like, girl, it's a blessing, but girl, you don't have to knock her down, But, so I had to remember, like you said, they're here for their own purpose. Our experiences are not their experiences, and we are supposed to, guide them with the help of, Olodumare. So I wanted to touch on that. Thank you so much, because you was dropping gems, okay? You actually just everything that I wanted to say, okay?
So real though. Like I even noticed that with the little ones, like they're 2 and 3 years old, but they get excited, and I am with them on the weekends. So I've built up a little routine with them on the weekends to where we're like got our little morning routine down to where we're getting dressed for the day and brushing our teeth and doing these things. But they're excited about it because they want to get ready for the day. They want to be ready so that if it's time to go, they can go. They're at that age, like they want to be outside. So that is very, very important. And I think like instilling those things young on, like when they're really, really young, is very important. Like I understand sometimes when be like in the grocery store seeing kids and they be like maybe in their pajamas, but I don't understand that also. But immediately when we come back from the store, the park, or anywhere outside, it's bath and change just because of germs. And like, are you putting your child to bed in those clothes? Like you had them sitting in that cart. So I don't, and that's just me from my perspective right now of having not actually like birthed children.
Black mamas be like, don't you sit on that bed with that outside clothes. Don't you sit on my couch with that outside clothes. Actually, don't you come in my house smelling like outside. And I'm like, what am I supposed to wear?
Like
Go to bed.
Leave them shoes at the door. At the door.
And honestly, it makes sense. It makes sense now that we're adults. And I'm like, okay, you could have delivered it a little bit differently. You could have told me why, you don't want the outside stuff, on the bed, because kids don't know. And parents they're all I know my mom, she old school, okay? She was like, because I said so. She's like, I said so, mom.
That was number one rule. But even from a spiritual perspective, we know that energies and spirits get passed on just from touch. So that also comes into play. You know what I'm saying? Because our babies and our young ones, they're also spiritually inclined. They have their own spiritual experiences. So like teaching them that young on, like, take your socks off if you've been walking around the house or outside, like before you get in the bed, change your clothes, take a shower, like do these things. Teaching them those things early, I have found to be very effective.
Yeah, it become habit.
Like a fight,
Yeah.
like I've seen the little kids who don't want to take a bath, who don't want to change their clothes, who don't want to change their diaper. I've seen what the effects of not instilling these things young on. Like I've seen that.
Child, we can
There
go on.
gotta be a
We could
person
go on
that
that one too.
I
You
about
want
to
to go?
say.
Which route you want to go? We want to go left or right? Okay, which one? Because I could touch on that too. Okay, because there's a lot of kids out here nowadays that just don't know how to do the basic, just activities of daily living. That's a social work coming out. Like just as far as bathing, and I don't want to go because we talking about self-love and parenting, but I know a lot of old school women didn't teach young women how to properly cleanse themselves because it was just things that we didn't talk about, right? So
Right.
such thing as like having a period. I know my mom was like, "Oh, go get a pad on, put a pad." But I had sisters that was able to be like, "Girl, she did the same thing to me. Let me tell you how to do it."
Right.
Never, and so we even never had sex, and the sex talk was, "Don't bring no kids up in this house," And so it wasn't until things that I thought might have been weird. It was like, girl, that's what women do. Okay.
Right.
Like my daughter, she's seen how the pad works. We put in cranberry juice on the pad. We put in the tampon. She ain't using it, but I'm showing her how to use it because that's another thing about breaking generational curse is that the ignorance of just being a woman, right? A lot of us are ignorant. We don't know that, we ain't supposed to be smelling like rose petals down there, but your mama trained you because your body is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And you're like, oh, you smell. No, you smell because you're not properly cleaning yourself. That's one. And then you're not talking to your parents because there's no level of openness or freedom to express. So now you're up here just not knowing how to properly clean yourself. And then your kids don't know how to properly clean themselves, So also too, breaking that ignorance, that's the generational curse too. We gotta like breaking that cycle. My daughter already know what it's supposed to do, how let's get it, okay? But sorry, I went on another tangent anyway.
No, I feel you on that because you touched on something that was really important in my opinion. Like I feel like the last thing I want to do is create a barrier between me and Carmen to where she feels like in her most vulnerable circumstances, she can't come to me. It's like finding that perfect balance of, oh, I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. But we close enough to where you can come to me as your friend and open up to me and ask me stuff. I don't want her having to go out here and talk to some of these other kids who may not be getting proper guidance to tell her about boys or to tell her about, like you just said, cleanliness and what to do and what to expect. I don't want her going to nobody else. I want her to feel like she can come in and talk to me and not have to be scared or timid or just feel weird about having that conversation with me. I know for me with my mom, we kind of always had that relationship because we were only 16 years apart. You know what I'm saying? So I had a younger mother. So I always I respected her as my mom, of course, but we just had this connection where I could go to her with anything that I noticed that my cousins who had older parents couldn't do. She would want to go to her friends and go out here and wild out at the school because it was just a big difference in how she was raised versus how I was raised with her having having older parents and then me having a younger mother who was a little bit more open to those type of conversations. So I try to make sure that I'm creating a type of relationship where she can come to me with anything, even if she's done something she's embarrassed about it or scared about it. I want her to know that she could come to me, and that's so important.
Because if not, she don't go to you. She gonna go to the streets, and or these little what the like Priestess Oyo Patu Ifa Women Mo said, right? Because the knucklehead friends will be the blind leading the blind. Okay, I understand why my mom said if the kids jump off the bridge, you gonna jump too. And I'm like, why would she say that? Because now I understand, and and I know you want to be. I know I want to be a safe place with my child. So and some things, one thing I can say I pride myself is my daughter she's very honest with me, and I love that about her. And she will tell me when I'm wrong. She will definitely tell me when I'm wrong. And we have these process sessions, and I'm like, okay, so if I have to like discipline her or something, I take something away, or we knucking and bucking, right? But I'm the one, popping the booty. And so I would tell her, we're going to have a process session. Okay. Why did you get in trouble? Why did you get this taken away? And it's usually because I've been talking and talking, saying this more than one time anyway. And, sometimes my daughter would tell me why I still think that you're wrong, and she'll try to plead her case. But you know what? There's been times where she's been correct. She has been correct. And I've had to humble myself accordingly. And I've had to apologize to her. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry that I did this. You were right. I should have just waited, or whatever the case may be. Or, I'm sorry I accused you of something. I don't know. I'm like, who, if you ain't do it, then who did it? The ancestors?
Okay.
There's only two of us in this house now. Okay. But, spirit be spiriting. So, that is true. That is true. Just being a safe place for your kids, because if not, like Priestess Oya Petu said, they will be out here, the blind leading the blind. And I see the kids every day on the train. And I tell my daughter every day, don't you ever let me see you or hear you doing it. I won't. I said, yeah, you say that now. But wait when you become a teenager and the peer pressure and things start going on, you still got to be, you're representing me.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. Sorry, Priestess Olaia. What's the next stop? What are we doing?
Okay. So let's see. We just spoke about the first introduction little piece, right? What excuse me, I'm over here crying off code. What did you witness your parents or guardians practice as self-love while they were raising you? And what did that look like for your parents?
So I don't think that my mother practiced self-love. I'm gonna be real. My mother was selfish. I thought, I kind of don't get confused, selfishness with self-love. Um, and I'm gonna stand, it's no disrespect, but my mother was very selfish. What I thought, and I thought it was self-love. So I don't think I've ever, witnessed my mother implement any self-love with her, because then I would have been able to model that as well, right? Because we model some things from our parents. And so I've never seen her do any acts of self-love. I've heard her, be selfish with certain things, but that was about it. And like I said, it wasn't until I was an adult that I was like, oh, self-love, this actually a thing, because there was no representation in my household with self-love. They would probably beg to differ, but yeah.
I had a similar. That's pretty familiar for me because my mom, she never. I can honestly say I don't recall her ever doing anything regarding self love. Like, as a matter of fact, even now that I understand the importance based on my own journey of self love and what it means and what you can do to support yourself in that way, I realize that that's something that even to this day she still struggle with. Um, my mom, I recall we have our family dynamic is just interesting all the way around, especially when it comes to the women. So we kind of had that, good child, bad child type of coming up or generational curse. So my mom always believed that she was the ugly one because she was darker, because she didn't have long flowy hair, because she was skinny like me. So she never saw herself in a way. I don't even think that she ever really understood that she deserved self love. So for that reason, it was nothing that she ever really started pursuing until now in her late ages, I would say. And we still have those conversations now. I still say little things like, "Am I too dark for this? Do you think I'm good?" And I'm like, "Ma, you still bashing yourself. Like, it's gorgeous." But she never felt it internally based on how she was brought up. So therefore, she never really poured into herself, and I never seen her pour into herself. And I kind of came up with my own, what do I want to call it?
Yeah.
Insecurity, I should say, because it kind of bleeds down.
It does bleed down.
Oh my God, it just bleeds over generation after generation after generation. So I kind of picked up on some of her self hate versus self love, and that
Priestess Ifajoke, you sound far away. They said it.
Can y'all hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, I think my hand was in front of the mic. Sorry. But yeah, what I was saying was it kind of turned into watching her self-hate and self-sabotage, and then that bled over into me growing up with insecurities, you know what I mean, based on some of the insecurities that she had and how she felt about herself, and I'm a split image of her. So it's like, you know, it wasn't until like Priestess Omo Sule said, it wasn't until my adult years, it wasn't until I got my ancestral life path reading that my ancestors came through and said, focus, self-love, that's all we want for you right now. We ain't here to talk about nothing else. We here to talk about you loving yourself and what that looks like. Here go some recipes. Here go some things that we need you to do and make a priority. That was literally my entire message from my ancestors and my ancestral life path reading.
Amen. That is fact. Hold on. Can we talk about Mika? What Mika said in the chat. Okay.
Yes, let's go back to the chat. We got some comments.
Can I show it like that? Oh, I can. I can do that. Hey. Okay. So another thing I struggle with as a kid is being singled out. I remember my stepmom introducing her kids and then saying, "This is his daughter," referencing my dad. I felt unloved and unwanted. Let me tell you something, Mika. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And that's like one of the worst feelings, especially as a kid. My adopted mom used to introduce my sister and I, like, these are my adopted daughters. I'm like, God dang, shit. Like,
right.
It can be your daughter, you know, like, and I'm telling you, whatever. These are my adopted girls. These are the girls I adopted. I had them when they was like 3 years old. They came with nothing. Like, she'll tell the whole life story. I'm like, golly. And so I did feel singled out because I agree with you, Mika. It's like, dang, is there no love for the kid? No love at all. And so you see how that starts to shape how we start to treat ourselves and view ourselves, especially as we start getting into young women, adolescence and stuff, and we start seeing, you know, certain things, you know, teenagers, we want to be liked, we want to be accepted and things, and in the place that you're supposed to be accepted, which is your household, because your household is supposed to be a safe place, right? And they doing fuck shit in the motherfucking household, you know. So how, you know, so the people that I'm supposed to be safe with, you know, you're showing me I can't be safe with you. And then I got to go out and deal with the bullshit, because the world is still going to have this bullshit. But as parents, it's up for us to train our kids and pray over our kids. Also, too, I just want to say, do not, you know, like, neglect prayer, and don't like sleep on prayer, because I'm pretty sure my grandmother's prayers is like carrying me right now. I'm telling you. Okay, what's that meme say? You know, your mama praying for you, and the man in the bed choking him. Okay, that is so true. Those grandma prayers are true. So, you know, I get you. I do. I feel you with that. And then you say you grew up in the system, and all I wanted was a mom, and that hurt me in a different way. It does. And then next thing you know, we're 50, trying to deal with our shadow selves and things like that, you know. You know, it's, and so once we know better, we're supposed to what?
Do better.
Do better.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I can relate to some of that. I grew up with my mother mostly. My father moved us, you know, so seeing my father and actually like witnessing
Sounds
what
like you got an echo.
could look like.
Or is that me? Hold on, let me mute.
Hello? Is there still mute or echo? Okay. Actually being able to witness what my father's self-love looked like, I didn't actually get to witness that until I was like forced the relationship and made him be present in my life when I was like in my 20s, and I was able to like witness some of what that was. But it was, for him, it was more so like his self-image and having money in his pocket, and those were the things that he like really carried forth to care for himself, right? If he was down, you would never know. For my mom, that was a completely different witnessing of lack of self-love. And then I actually witnessed my mom go from not knowing how to do these things, being a young parent. She had me at 19, you know, down in California in the 80s. It was a wild time. So, so many things about the 80s, you know. But I witnessed her once we moved to the Northwest. I watched her change, and I watched her go from not really having plans or knowing how to do what she wanted to do and figuring it out and incorporating some level of self-love. And the self-love comes in when you make these plans and you fulfill them, right? Or you say that you want to make some changes and you make those changes. So like I've been able to witness some of that from my mom, but on a personal level, I can't really say how much personal self-love I've actually witnessed her like prioritize for herself, because my mom was a single mom, so she constantly was working to level herself up. So there wasn't always like, there wasn't the family vacations, there wasn't the I'm taking a trip with my girls this weekend, there was like none of that. So that personal level of taking care of herself and her wants and her needs, it was like a minimal amount of it. But watching her grow from a young mom to an older mom, or like being a seasoned parent and bringing her self-love into it being a reflection of her kids, I witnessed that. That personal piece, not so much. I'm like, some yes, but not as much.
I think it's interesting that all three of us sit here now on our journey and having this conversation, and we all share the same thing in common, whereas we didn't get to witness it from our mothers specifically. um, that's the one thing that's just ring out to me. Like, it's amazing how common it seems to be that we don't get to see those things. The camera went out. Okay, sorry. But we didn't really get to witness that for the women in our families, and yet here we are priestessing how we priestess and starting to make these corrections and take a different approach to love on ourselves so that our children can witness that and they won't have that same story. It's so interesting to me to see that be the common thing between us right now.
Also, too, to piggyback on that, I come from a Christian background, you know, and I know within my family they believe in long suffering, right? So I got to do all this stuff, and got to take care of all these kids, no time for me, Then I'm yelling at the kids and all this stuff, but when I go to heaven, I finally have a rest. So then it's like, damn, when you go to heaven, that you ain't gonna watch me, you just gonna rest. Is that how it go? And so I think with us now, especially knowing what we knowing that we deserve to be, it's our birthright to be happy, successful, and fulfilled, right? And so we know what that looks like. We know what our parents have went through, how much they suffered, and still probably still suffering because they haven't implemented, any self love into their lives, even that we're grown adults, um, I think our mindset has changed because what we're practicing, and that we deserve happiness.
It's our
Um,
birthright. Okay.
it is our
Yeah,
birthright.
we got a couple comments from Jamae. I hope I'm saying that right. Fulton. My mom treated herself terribly, always gave and gave, and was used and abused. She has nothing to show for it at her old age. And I feel like that's something common with our generation's parents, right? Like, I think there's like a ball that's been dropped by generationally, and so we see these things. But I think one of the most important things that I think we can pull from this conversation is that we can still encourage our moms and our parents and the women in our life to incorporate self-love, even though we're still on our own journey, still learning, still babies to them, right? We can still encourage them to incorporate these things in their life. My mom hates when I tell her to incorporate these things because she knows, right, that she needs to do these things. But she appreciates me reiterating that she deserves all the love, all the things, right? Like, I think after getting over the fact that why is my daughter talking to me like this, she can appreciate like understanding, oh, she wants me to have the love. She wants me to feel appreciated. She wants me to feel at ease, peace, and to know what that is, right? Like, I want my mom to have these things. So I'm going to be encouraging this. Even in her, she is a seasoned parent, okay? She has raised me and several other people's children. So she knows, but I'm still going to encourage her to incorporate these things if I feel like I'm not seeing it. If I can't see it and I know what that looks like now as an adult, I'm encouraging it, right?
That's that love. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? She was never able to teach me how to be a woman or love on myself. Yeah, and that is true. Sometimes we don't get that from our mothers, and so we go and look out, go find it other places. We find it in try to find it in men. I sometimes these fuck niggas, they have a sensory gland. They can just smell these women that have mother problems, or their mother what may not have been
It's a
present
look.
in their life. It's like it's a smell. It's like a hound dog or something. They know they're like these little predators. Okay. And so, sometimes we have to go through situations, and sometimes bad situations where it might deal with embarrassment or just, shaming or something, in order for us to be like, you know what, I deserve better.
What's
I
that
really deserve
saying? Hard head make a soft ass.
better.
My mom
Hello.
used to say that all the time. Like,
Oh,
okay, well, I already told you. Hard head make a soft ass. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but okay.
And
Um,
also too, can we I know Oshun Kamimbi said, can you talk about having those traditions or daily rites last when they are around new peers? Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be real, because it's my first time riding this rodeo, okay? And for real, the ancestors are really helping me with these. That is why I say prayer, because I've never, I will say this. I was so terrified of my mom growing up, because I believe she brought me in this world, she could take me out. Well, I guess she adopted me into this world, and I just thought she can take me out or whatever. Parents be like, I can take you out.
that's
So
the courage
I
they
never
come
act
to
out.
us for.
Yeah, so I never acted out, because I was just scared. I was scared. I just knew she was going to take me out of here. So I was always I was like, look, I already knew after high school, I'm getting up out of this house. This lady getting on my nerves right now. So, and I went to church, even in college, went to church, because that was like instilled in me. But I also know that things are different. My daughter is not going to be as is that me echoing? Hold on. Can y'all hear that? Is that me? Hello? Okay, good. Because I was like, if I can hear it, I'm pretty sure y'all can. But what was I saying? So I was fearful. So I didn't, go leave the tradition and the rites and things like that. Uh on Communion Sunday, I was going to make my way to somebody's church and have communion, whether it's on campus or somewhere. I was going to eat the blood, drink that body. Because quiet as is kept, I probably spent the $50 for the month, and that was going to be my meal, my breakfast. Okay. But my daughter is not as, I don't want, my daughter ain't scared. She's very vocal. She's her own self. She is. And so I know there might be times where she will try to test, things, or try to, her peers. Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. My daughter don't know this. So my daughter's on the phone, and the little kids asking them, do you curse? And so my daughter's like, oh, when I'm mad. So the kids telling my daughter to curse, right? And so she doesn't even know that I know. She probably hear me now. And so I'm in the room listening, and it was like, well, what do you say? And so my daughter's like, I just said the F word. And it was like, well, say it. And so my daughter was like, no. And it was like, say it. So my daughter says fuck, right? And I was like, damn, you fell into the peer pressure, sis. You fell into the peer pressure. But I know if my mother would have heard that, she would have busted in my room. You using a 4-letter words? You using a 4-letter words? And she would have embarrassed me, right? Now I'm gonna have that conversation with her. I'm not gonna be dumb and say that she don't curse. Look who her mama is. Look who her mama is. Okay, all right. My favorite pastime is cursing, and quiet as is kept. That's my grandma's favorite pastime. That is I'm telling you, my grandma, who's my ancestor. My dad says she a little rough around the edges. Okay, She called him a nigga the first time she met him, but it was all in love. But so I would be dumb if I think that my daughter wouldn't curse. But I was like, dang, you had the kids like psych you up and stuff. You could have said, nah, my mom's in the house. So I'm gonna have a conversation with her. I ain't embarrass her because my mama would have embarrassed me. Okay, and I would have been talked about on Monday. So these are like breaking a little generational curses, and then also too praying that I'm being a vessel for spirit, that I am leading her, right? And so as she see as spirit walks through work through her life, even right now, she'll pray for something and something happens, so she knows. So I'm hoping that as she's seeing how spirit is working with her, that she will keep these traditions even when it comes to peer pressure. Cursing, that's something, but hopefully she'll never be like, go hit that girl, go hit that girl, like nothing heavy as far as peer pressure. So pray, prayer, pray, walk with her every day, walk front, side by side. If you gotta be on top of her head, be on top of her head too. And if you gotta pick up and magically make her fly so she could be away from these people that is not in alignment with her, then go ahead and do it, spirit. Do what you gotta do. Okay. So that's me. That is me. Prayer, because we got hopes and dreams for our kids.
Prayer is everything. It really, really is.
Everything. It's a super. It is your superpower. You
Yeah.
ain't gotta light no candle. You ain't gotta because I'm pretty sure when you go to your ancestors praying, they praying right with you too, and praying for that baby just as well, and these kids and you and everything else that you're praying for.
Right. And so I think prayer is a huge part of self-love and parenting, right? And prayer is actually something like my mom, I learned how to pray for my grandmother, but once my grandmother moved, my mother was always working, so it was no longer like anyone instructing me on how to pray or how to expand my prayer on certain things. So that kind of just fell to the wayside. You know what I'm saying? Which could have prevented a lot of the experiences that I had later on in my younger adult years. But I just feel like prayer is very important. And so now, one piece of self love is teaching your children about spirituality and prayer. And I think that transmutes your self love, in your parenting style when you can share that and express that with your children.
I have to agree with you on that because, ooh, I have been putting down some praying for my baby every night, every morning on the way to school. I'm on her head. I'm in that Ori, talking, speaking, feeding, praying through my Ori for hers. I just, I'm noticing with Carmen, I had to figure out a way to make it fun. And now she's doing things on a spiritual level that I think is amazing. Oh, if only I had it at her age. Like at this point, my baby about know the entire Ori prayer because I say it so much that even when I'm getting ready to go into the next line, she'll go ahead and say it, and I'm like, oh, I get so excited. She don't even know why I'm as excited as I am, but I'm like, yes, girl, speak, speak. So I have this little mirror that I made, and it's in the shape of a Mickey Mouse, and on one side it has just the mirror itself, but on the back side of it, it has all these affirmations. It's just like I am, and then it has beautiful, courageous, um, magnificent. I mean, just a whole. It has about 30 different things up there. So I make her do it, and now she just it's like second nature. Like she get up, she brush her teeth, she wash her face, she look in her mirror, she say her affirmations, and she go to school. And she, I'm seeing a difference in her, the way she feel about herself, her confidence, when we're practicing affirmations and when we fall off from doing it. So I try to incorporate stuff like that to make it fun for her. Even with prayer, like I'll just make it more so like we just had, we're having a conversation. Like if it's one thing you could tell God, what would you say? And so we have these conversations, and her responses just be so amazing. Like I'm shocked sometimes at what her response is and what's going on in her head. But I agree with you guys, with both of you. Prayer is number one. Prayer without ceasing at all times.
Absolutely. I think it's so profound for you because sometimes as parents, we don't always recognize that our children are paying attention to what we're doing. And I know that you be in prayer and I know you got all kinds of stuff going on. So those things transmute in our parenting, you know? So when you ask her those questions, she has a very honest and profound answer for you because she's modeling after mom. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah, my do as I say, or they say do as I say, not as I do. But I realize that that is not going to work for these children. These children are what they call them star seeds and stuff. Don't get me up here to be lying and stuff. But these children are totally different, and I don't know if it's because we finally going to therapy, self love. Okay, if we are finally just like
Being honest.
stepping into our power, but and we're allowing these kids to be kids, because sometimes I feel like we didn't have a chance to be kids. I know I didn't. I was in survival mode, but I think allowing kids to be kids and allowing them to express themselves and be inquisitive is another way of, breaking that generational things. Because I'm pretty sure I know my daughter, when she sees me in my prayer room, she's asking, "What are you doing?" you know and then she sees the shells as a fun thing, and so now I'm like, okay, like you said, Priestess Ifajoke, okay, like make it fun, because kids ain't gonna sit there and be like, oh, reload that me, like they are not, they're gonna be like, okay, what is this? Okay, now, like you said, that Shunariki, these kids, they hear it all the time, right? So they responded back like, what? Okay, you listen, you catching. So it's that model, that model behavior is important. That is a And also too, that's a form of like self-love, because I know for me, there's no perfect parent. So I know there were certain behaviors that was just not in alignment with me at all, right? Such as, we're gonna be real, my temper, my anger, okay? And so I don't want my kid having a temper problem and things that sort, right? So I know that I have to change my ways, because I love myself, and I don't want my daughter to be able to take on these bad influences that I may have had her, right, on her. So I love myself enough to be like, let me change this, because I want you to look like me. I don't want you to act like me. Be yourself, don't be like me, be better, as Ia would say, right?
Absolutely.
I
Oya
say,
put two in the comments. She said these kids are different because we are different. Their ancestors who feel safe to come through now. Me and Priestess Shumbole were just talking about this yesterday. And that is real. Our children are going to be different because we're different and because we're breaking those generational curses. We're expelling those things from our life that no longer serve us or that have inflicted harm and pain and trauma, not only just in us, but also our family members and our loved ones. Like, it ends here, right? Like, no more. No more. So, I definitely agree with that. Let's go forward to our next area of discussion because this conversation is getting really good. It's getting really good and really juicy, and I'm loving it. But let's talk about why prioritizing self love is an important aspect of parenting.
ooh, I can lead with this one. I feel like it's important to prioritize self love because oftentimes, like, it's our natural instinct to put our children first, to make sure all their needs are met, to go hard so we can support them. And sometimes, like, you can really get burnt out mentally, emotionally, physically, because you're holding up your responsibility, you're providing for this little life. But sometimes, if you're not caring for yourself, you will lose yourself, and then therefore you are just not functioning at your greatest potential, even when it comes to parenting. Like, there's been times where I had to sit myself down because I may be more aggressive or talking to her in a way that I don't even appreciate, and I had to realize, like, this isn't for you. None of it is for you. It's the fact that I am tired, I'm exhausted, I haven't had a moment for me just to breathe, and that's not your fault. Because when I had opportunities, I should have took it and prioritized it. And because I didn't, I'll see myself not being the reflection that I know I can be when it comes to parenting. So I will quickly, when I recognize it, I will apologize. I will make it right. And then I will step away and make some time for me, because I understand, with me being overwhelmed, with me being burnt out, because you burn, people think, I mean, it's a job. It's a job to care for these babies. And people think that it's because that's what we are here to do. That's what we are supposed to do as parents, that we can't get burnt out. We get burnt out. I know I get burnt out. So sometimes it's just having the wherewithal to know, okay, this is one of those moments where I really need to prioritize me. I haven't ate all day. I haven't slept in 2 days. I haven't done just the basic things of self care for myself. So I'm not functioning at my best potential, which is why I'm responding or reacting the way that I am with her. And it's up to me to recognize that and change it. So I said all of that to say, if you prioritize it to begin with, chances are you won't really go down that road and have to backtrack and apologize and go back and fix it, because you will recognize that you need to take care of you also, just as much as we take care of these kids.
Preach. Priestess Omo Sule.
For me, because I know where I am when I don't have self-love. I'm a beast. Okay, I'm a monster, and I don't like that, And it's accountability, I realize, and this is also too, when you are, maybe because I might be going on another deeper level, when you are spiritually connected and aligned and things like that, you or tapped into your ori, that the things that, when you are out of alignment, when you're not practicing self-love and self-care, how it makes you feel, how it makes you think, right? So the more, especially as more as I start to like really tap into myself, I realize when I'm not pouring into myself, how it makes me feel, how I'm already quick tempered, but baby, it's gonna be fast, okay, in a New York second, okay. I know that, I'm going to be, my attention span may not, it's just, I'm not the best version of myself, And so unfortunately, if I'm not the best version of myself, then everything around me tends to crumble. The house be looking a mess, the kids, so I had to really be real with myself. And what is it that you need? What is it that you need, Priestess Omo Sule, at this time? You're quick tempered, you're upset about something. What is it? Do you need to call one of God's parents? And so one thing that I have been able to do, which I'm blessed for, is being able to humble myself accordingly, to be like, I can't do this, because Big Mama gonna make it seem easy that she raised 10 kids and the grandkids and the great grandkids, and you can do it too. That is not my ministry. Okay. I'm not going to clean up every day. My mom I used to, cleanliness is close to godliness, but my mom had it where she wanted us to clean every day. And I grew up, and even my adult life is like, I got to clean every day. I got to clean every day. But that's not real, especially if you're working full time. The reason why you were able to clean up every day, because you had 10 kids and the kids were able to do all that, So I've learned that I had to be real with myself, because I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself. And it was bleeding, like you say, it bleeds onto everything, And so I had to be real with myself. And I'm like, okay, what is it that I need at this time? I might just need I just might need an hour to myself. I might need a whole weekend. I might just need a spiritual bath and sit down and shut the fuck up somewhere, So it's all about, what it is I need at the time. And I'm still learning, what it is that I need at certain times, and how to implement that, whether it's going outside. It's too cold to go outside. That is what you need. So honestly, I had to learn, just when you're tapped in and spirit is telling you what you need, and when you go against it and you start seeing how the things are going up to flames, and it's just because you're not sleeping, you can only go off but so many hours of sleep, not sleeping, there's only so long you can go without eating before your blood pressure start getting low and pass out. And then when I pass out, who gonna call? My daughter gonna call 911, but then that's traumatic for the kids. So I realized it was a chain reaction of everything if I didn't take care of myself, You know, like y'all getting hamburger helper today, and the next thing you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, their blood pressure high because they eat hamburger helper and noodles and stuff every day. You know, because I'm not doing self-care, so it's pouring out to my kids. So I realized that quick how much my daughter was affected by me not pouring into myself, and I was like, oh, this got to change. This has got to change. So what about you, Priestess? When you realize that you gotta get away from step kids? See, that's easy with the step kids. You be like, all right, see you later. You're just no real ties to them, okay? Just how like the aunts be like, I'll bring you back to your daddy house.
I don't know. So I have a few experiences, I guess. So when I was younger, I could always tell, I always felt like if my mom didn't get any breaks or she didn't get any time for herself, or she was just constantly working with all gas, no breaks, I felt like I couldn't really go to her for things. Like that was a big experience that I had, right? Like I just couldn't. There was no way. Asking her for anything was just like blasphemy because all she'd been doing is working. So that was an experience that I had, just having a mother who's constantly working and not having the ability to incorporate self-love. I really don't have that experience of needing a break when the kids are around because Quave is like a tentative father. And so I don't have to ever feel like I need a break. Like I really haven't had that experience yet. So for me though, when I'm with the kids doing outreach or doing my empowerment program, I think I feel like that more, like when I took the girls camping and like all these things were happening. I feel the pressures of, okay, I need to like meditate for a second. Maybe I didn't meditate long enough before we left to go on this trip or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I recognize when I need to like take a step back and like do some breathing and like go over here, because I grew up in a household that was loud and we did a lot of yelling. So that has transmuted into how I do some things. Like, and I have a very soft, quiet little voice, but don't piss me off though, right? So that's something that I don't like, and
Yeah, we yell. I come from a family of yellers.
change that.
Yeah, and I realize how it's
weird.
bad.
Like yelling,
It gets your blood pressure high.
It gets your blood pressure high.
And I'm like, dang, what about like?
Like,
yeah, I come from a family of yellers, and then I realized I was like, hold up, wait a minute, what is going on here? Yeah. Okay, like if we're gonna say one thing, my mom does, she gonna yell. All she do is yell. Yeah, I'm a yeller. I don't know. It's something I need to work on in general too. But I feel like, you know, if I yell, it's because I've been maybe 1 or 2 rounds with you and you're not understanding or comprehending what I'm saying. So maybe if I raise my voice, you know, and I hate that I even have to do that. I just hate. And then also too, what you said, how you couldn't even ask your mom for certain things, you know. Sometimes I think that our parents are just like, I got it out the mud, so you got to get it out the mud too. I went through this, and it's like, no, you did this, so I wouldn't have to go through this. But you just like, I don't believe in I suffer, so you got to be suffer. It's that I think I shouldn't probably say how the Delta say, reaching back to pull forward. Like I did this so I could reach back to you, so you can be able. You don't have to go through all of this stuff. I went, and that's why I really feel, and this is, I feel this in my bone. I feel like my daughter has never been into a fight because I have fought so much throughout my life that she ain't got to fight. She ain't got to do the motherfucking thing. And I know better now, and I'm just going to pray over her. But my daughter has never been into a fight. And I feel that way because I fought enough for the both of us, right? So I don't like that. Like, I got it out the mud, so you got to go get it too. No, come on, Mom. What does that say about you, mother, father?
Listen, I feel that 100%. I really do. But I love the fact that Abijah doesn't even have to think about that. Like, she doesn't have to even be like, I'm walking outside my house and down the street to go to the bus stop, and I'm probably gonna get into a fight now or late. You know, like, I just love that you've changed that and that you've halted that line of I gotta fight to live or to survive. Like that is something to be very proud of. So pat yourself, like that's
Thank
a
you.
real
Thank
thing
you. Thank
because
you.
I definitely wasn't ever like my mom's generation was a fighting generation, right? Like I remember hearing stories about how my auntie got her cut on her neck from my other auntie. I remember hearing about my auntie rolling around with her roller skates and binking people in the face with, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember hearing all those hardcore stories where you're like, well, damn, okay, chin up, soldier, like what? So that's very important to not like have to be like you got to be this, because it's like we're incorporating balance in our children's lives so they don't feel like they have to be in survivor mode and they don't feel like they have to just always be on the defense out here tussling and fighting. Although I will say I am the number one person who would be like, did you fight back? Right? Like that I will
Okay. Don't
fight
hello.
back. Like,
You ain't nobody punching bag. Okay.
so I will, you know what I'm saying? Like my little cousins and my nieces and goddaughters, things like that. We will be. I do my little thing where I'm just like, well, we don't play fight because play fight turns serious. So make sure you're ready if you're out here playing. You know what I'm saying? Like have those type of conversations, but out just all the rough and stuff in my Afro puff, just cause like that's not.
But see, Priestess Omo Sule gave us so many resources, so many tools, especially like going into the school year as to how to protect our children. So that, and that's what I really try to bank on now because I know the world is fucked up like it is. But I really try and I really, really pray specifically for that protection for her. So what I be hoping for is that all this prayer that I'm speaking over her life and all of these things that I'm doing for protection for her, that she won't even have to run into that. Like, Lord, oh Lord Dumare, I'll fight a kid. So let's just not even put the kid in that predicament. Don't put me in that predicament. Like, let's just block all of that negativity because I really want her to avoid those situations completely because I'm still working on me. And I really don't know what my response would be when it comes to my child being bullied and hit on and like
And
kids
baby,
they
make sure
kill
you be
each other.
strategic with your prayers, okay? Because I was praying for my child, and I realized I'm gonna be real as a priestess. I got my message across, but I fucked some shit up in the, not physically, but you got the understanding, right? So I just need a little bit more precision in regards to when it's time to protect my kid. Because I'm gonna lie, I was approaching kids, I was going up to the grandmamas, I was going to the mamas. I was like, look, what's going on? I was going to the schoolhouse. I called the police. I was just like, what is, but so when you are praying, this is just a tip. And then also too, thank you, Priestess, because if you have not checked out my class, ways to I was about to say ways to stay chaotic, ways to stay protected in a chaotic world, go to learnarishahoodoo.com and get that class. It's a free class. Or how to spiritually prepare yourself for the school year. Because let me tell you, if you are not praying over your kids, that is a form of self-love for you. If you are not praying over your kids, and just be strategic when you are praying over your kids. You'd be like, yeah, I want him to beat up anybody that mess with him, but like then next thing he beat up the kid, but then he hurt the kid, and then you did what you prayed for. So as we are, our priestesses and spiritual healers and root workers and things of that sort, you learn to be strategic in your prayers, because spirit is gonna give you what you ask for, especially if it's in alignment, but you might fuck up some shit in it. So priestess, just continue to pray. Like I said, is your spiritual power. Throw a little amulet in her bag if need be. Or sew it in that joint. Start sewing things onto her clothes. And so that way we know that our kids are protected, because you can't trust the teachers anymore. But that's another story. We're talking about self-love and parenting, not the teachers.
It's okay. It's okay. So I feel like one way that I feel like um, self-love is an important aspect to parenting, is so that you can be present for your child when it really counts. Like, I remember so many times having, like, you know, growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood in Vancouver, Washington, and like all of these things, finally getting into some things and being like, Mom, I got this, Mom, I got this, Mom, I got this. But she can't go, she can't go, she can't go. I can remember those times. I can probably count on one hand how many performances she probably showed up to out of all the things that I tried to be involved in, right? So, like, that self love aspect is important in your parenting because it shows up in how you show up for your children. I feel like that's like a very big thing I wanted to say, just because some parents don't really recognize that even though you're working to make sure your kid can have those Jordans, still showing up to their recitals and their games and their performances and things are just as important. And that it's a big reflection of.
Can I agree with that? I totally agree with that. And I'm glad that you said that because get sad on my mind. I was showing my daughter the other day my kindergarten graduation picture. And so she was like, when Nana? And I was like, she wasn't there. And she was like, oh, she didn't come. And I was like, no, my mom never came to any of my school events. And I'm talking about when I was like banging in them awards. It was like, oh, look at this little black girl getting all these awards. Okay. My mom was like nowhere to be in found or in sight. And I remember feeling, kind of feeling neglected and unappreciated, sad. And so let me tell you, I show up to my daughter stuff all the time. Okay. Even if it's a little 30-minute, especially in kindergarten, when they just be 30 minutes and all they sing is the wheels on the bus go round and round for like 30 minutes. I'll be like, okay, well, I showed up. She remembers that, and being there for your kid because it shows that you are invested in them there. You love them, And so I love to see when my daughter's looking around, she can't find me and she finally see me and they be like, hey, Mom. It makes me feel good because I know how it felt as a kid when people didn't show up for me. Thank you, Priestess, for bringing that up.
Definitely. Um, Jamae said that she missed just one thing, and her son is used to her being there, and it hurt her heart because he definitely let her know, like, Mom, you supposed to be there. Like, ooh, our kids be chin checking us sometimes with that. Where was you at? Why wasn't you there? Like, I needed you there. Like, my mom probably hated that the most about me because I was very vocal about, I wanted you there.
Child, let me not be there. They're like, you want this roof on your head, this food on your table, these clothes on your back? And I'm like, yeah. They be like, all right, then. Okay. Hey, shit, I can't express myself. Let me shut up if I won't have no roof over my head.
Can you show up to one thing? Or can you at least do this? Like, I would go into bargaining mode. I would go into bargaining mode with my mom because I always
You like this macaroni and cheese, don't you? I had to work to buy this macaroni and cheese.
Okay?
Listen. Golly. You like that hot water, don't you? I had to work for the hot water. I'm like, okay, ma'am. But I realize now the hot water gonna stay on. I tell my job all the time, and I made it very clear. Okay, like my daughter comes first. So if it's a school event, if she's not feeling well, don't expect me to be on the plantation. Okay. I gotta be taking care of mine. So I'm here. And they'd be like, oh, that's Abijah mom. Hey, how you doing? Me with my leggings on and my hair wrap, just in case. Okay.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. I think just like most things, I think it come down to balancing things out, because sometimes, to piggyback off of what we were just talking about, I think it's important for parents to not be so hard on themselves either. Like, we have to start being okay with the fact that we need a moment. If some of y'all are anything like me, I struggled with that, especially when my baby was younger. I had real bad separation anxiety from her, everything. But it was one of those things where even though I knew I needed a break, it was hard for me to step away, because when I did, I would feel guilty. Oh, my mom said she can take Carmen for the day. That'll go do something for yourself. Let me have her. I might drop her off if I get to that point, but literally within 10 minutes, I'm already feeling guilty because I'm like, dang, I did want this pedicure, but what? I mean, this pedicure don't come before my baby. It's like, we got to stop doing that because it just ties back into loving on you and taking care of you. It just it just boosts your aura. It boosts your vibrations from the inside out, and your child can feel that. Just like when we sick and miserable and we hiding it from them, we smiling, they can feel it. They know we hurt. They know we upset. They know we miserable. They know something isn't right. So we got to stop beating ourselves up and feeling guilty about needing a moment for self love and self care.
Ashe. 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 Amen. Amen. Ashe.
Aye, Bubba. Okay. That's the truth. Yeah, because we do feel guilty. I feel like I'd be hold on, let me do this real fast. I feel like I'd be like when I have kids, especially knowing the things I went through as a kid, I would be slow to trust anyone with my kids. That is true. But can I also say about this? And I attest to this too. I have prayed for a great village for my child. And I'm talking about people that love me, and because they love me, they love my child, right? And so through that village, I'm able to be able to get a break if I want to. I have people. I'm like, don't even ask me no more. Just tell me the date and the time. They were like, can I get a badge for the weekend? Don't tease me with a good time, okay? Because I also know too, I need a break, and sometimes I tell my daughter's like, I know you out, girl. No, I be here sleep. I be in here sleep. I don't go out. I don't know what y'all think I do when I'm like not there. But a part of my self-care is sleeping and loving to be in my own company. Okay. Because sometimes I feel like too, I know I used to feel when I had a free moment, I feel like I had to be in the streets because I can't be in the streets with my kid. And then I'm out here not trusting my intuition and doing some fuck shit in the street. And then it's like I should have just sat at home, took care of myself, be around myself. And I know I love myself and I care for myself and I ain't going to put myself in no fuck shit or whatever. And maybe just sleep. That's a part of self-care too, just sleeping, because we don't really get the chance to sleep.
It's so important. It's really important to prioritize it. Being a community auntie, I try and make times for the parents. Be like, oh, I have this thing going on. Do you want me to come get the kids or do this? Or I could take them. Like my goddaughter, I'm the other parent. I'm like the other parent sometimes when it comes to like dropping her off and picking her up, just because I'm trying to provide my sister with that, love and support for my goddaughter. So it's so important that we prioritize self-love so we can show up for our children and be there for them when it really matters to them and for us, so that we don't be feeling bad. But also I appreciate what Priestess Ifajoke was saying when she's saying like, but also don't be hard on yourself. Like, I'm not saying none of the things that I'm saying tonight to be hard on my mom or any other parents that I know, because I have several women that I've looked up to like a mother in my life, right? Like I got my mama Michelle, I have my best friend's mom, you know what I'm saying? I got my mom, I got my auntie who's like a mom, you know what I'm saying? So I have several different experiences, but I mostly just speak to my own personal lived experience with my own mama, right? Like that's just what it is, but it's all love, right? Like it's all love. So we can move on to the next topic if we're ready to move forward. We already talked about what it's about, prioritizing it, and what happens if you don't prioritize it. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we move forward to that? No? Okay. So, how far along in your parenting journey did you realize the importance of practicing self-love to become a better parent? Like, when did you realize that, oh, I really do need to take a break? I love my child, but I need a break. Like, When
I realized that fast, okay? Because child, I was staying with my daughter's father and I were together, and I felt like I was doing everything by myself, and I was like, golly, ain't no way we in the same house together, and I'm still doing everything, and I'm still feeling overwhelmed. And so that is when I started. I was like, okay. But also, too, an extension of my self love was leaving that motherfucker because I knew how low vibrational he kept me and how I wasn't happy and how it was just spilling over to just the household. So I knew, like, quick when I realized I was doing things by myself and I was like, I could be single and do these things by myself. You cheating on me anyway. Like, and so I realized I was like, no, I don't like this version of myself. And I don't want my daughter to grow up seeing this, tumultuous relationship because we want a 2-parent household. Look, I could be by myself and raise my kid. You could see whatever, it's the breakup of the household. But I needed to be able to do that in order to practice self-love, and because the way that I was treated and I felt that I was being treated. So once my daughter came, I was like, oh shit, nope. Like, she can't be exposed to this. I would never want her to be my age going through things like this. Let me be a role model and let me just start pitting, the steps, and I realize it's a journey. You don't change overnight, but I started making the steps, and I started definitely when I left her father, and I was like, oh, we got to go. Okay.
Now that was a word because I can definitely identify with understanding that it was a part of loving myself more than I love someone else that I incorporated into my parenting, which made me, because I was hell bent on, I'm not gonna be a statistic. I'm not gonna be a baby mom. Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna be a baby mom. I'm not gonna make myself a baby mom. Like that was a thing for me. Like I feared being a baby mom. Like I'm like we brought this child here. She's gonna grow up in a loving 2-parent household, and that's how we doing this. I'm not repeating what's been done already over and over and over. You know better, you do better, right? And then I started realizing we're gonna kill each other. And this is toxic for this baby to be around all this yelling, all this screaming, all this fighting, all this sadness. Like I was sad. I was so sad. So I knew then, like, I gotta go. As much as I hate to be a single parent, that I think will do less damage than what this is going to turn out to be. And I had enough sense to know that. But loving on me enabled me to love on her appropriately without her being in the midst of something just for me to create this facade. Like it was never gonna, it didn't matter if we stayed under one roof. She was gonna understand that this isn't the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So I feel you 110% on that. But I can say it was a little bit different for me when it came to recognizing or realizing that I needed to take moments for myself because, like I said before, I had that separation anxiety from her. So even when I had opportunities, even when her dad and I were under the same roof, if he came and got her to give me a break, in 5 minutes, I'm around the corner like, she all right? She good? She coughing? Did you burp? Burp her. Make sure you burp her. Like, he's like, can you just chill? So it took me a lot longer to appreciate, I should say, because I knew I wanted it. Like deep down inside, I wanted a moment for me. But again, that guilt trip and then just not being comfortable to be away from her. But what I can say is the moment I let it happen, how good it felt, that broke that separation anxiety. At that point, I was like, okay, so she didn't die. So we good. So I can actually be comfortable with allowing someone to step in and assist me so I can love on myself properly. And that helped. Oh my God, it helped so much. But she was like 3 by the time I figured it out. That's a long time. That is a long time. But she had been here for 3 years before I finally was like, I gotta do better where I'm concerned. And then on top of that, I was nursing. So I nursed her for 2 years. So I mean, it don't get any more close or in your personal space than that. God's almighty. And she was a child that I just could not wing. Like she went through her own separation anxiety when it came to that. So it went on for 2 years. So when I finally had my moment for me, ooh, I appreciated it so much.
I feel that. I think it's really important just to acknowledge that, like, we will want breaks. Parents will want a break, right? Like, I have some women in my life who are nursing, and baby, when I tell you that little girl is 3 years old and will be like, boob, and do not care, okay? Like, does not care if we're in a meeting or not, like, does not care.
I don't know if it's something about because my daughter's a breastfed baby too, and child, but my daughter is very like affectionate. She always wants to be up on me. It's just like she wants my scent, and I'd be like, "Girl, how old are you? Are you 1 or 11?" She's like,
That's
"I
what it
just want to
is.
be," and I was like, "Okay, let me stop doing that because I couldn't do that with my mom." I don't know. My daughter used to like want to play with my stomach, and I was like, "Are you trying to go back in there? Like, what is it?" So even now, my daughter was like that very much so breastfed. It was like she just always had to be on me. But even now, I'm just like, girl, really? Can I have a moment? Still kind of be like, can I have a moment to myself? Like, it's all
Mm-mm.
right, chill. But at least she could be like, it might be a time when she be like, get out of here, mom, go, get out my room. And I'd be like, hold up now, what's going on? No slamming doors around here. I hate you. So I'm gonna take what I can take at this point.
That's what everybody say. Like, enjoy it now, because it's gonna get to a point where she ain't gonna want you around.
Oh, my
I'm
daughter's
like,
kind of getting she on a friend, she upstairs on the phone with her friends and stuff, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" She'd be like, "Hold on, my mom's calling me." She just sounds so disappointed. I'm like, "Am I interrupting something good? Let me put my ear by the door." I do put the ears by the door and I check phones, okay?
I was
Because
about to
part of
say
myself, that's a part of my self love. You ain't gonna stress me out with the what's going on. I'm gonna go straight to that phone. I'm gonna go straight to the source, okay? Because you ain't gonna have me stressed out. Because next thing you know, people gonna be like, the kids texting this. I'm like, no.
hmm they
I,
got it better than we did, because we had the house phone, and my mama would show pick up the other line and jump right in on that comment. I know you ain't still on this phone.
hello,
I know you
embarrass
ain't.
you,
I'm like, girl, you could have. Why you gonna
embarrass
embarrass
you.
me?
Mamas love to embarrass people. My daughter said I embarrassed her the other day, and I was like, I see what you're saying, but I'm still gonna say what I gotta say. What you think I'm gonna wait to the end of the day to be like, remember what you did on the bus today? You gonna forget. So I need to check you right. She was like, but you did it in front of everybody. I said, well, everybody was in the business. I mean, I can't help if everybody's in the business. And then this one lady was like, yeah, because my mom, she would have slapped me in my face, and I was like, child, my mama too. Okay. Are we gonna segue into that soft parenting?
I
Are we there
guess
yet?
we're here.
Are we there yet?
We're here.
To
We're
the,
here.
to the soft parenting, okay? Because that's a whole nother topic as well. But go ahead, Priestess.
Okay, so, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because I think there are some aspects to being an attentive parent, not necessarily a soft parent, but attentive to your child's needs, and the important things, right? I think that is very important. And not instilling a fear in your child to where they don't want to come to you for things, right? So I think there's a very fine line of respect and knowing who the parent is, but also being that attentive parent with a child who will come to you, mom, I just murdered somebody, I need you to help me figure it out, type shit. Like, I've seen different types of parent child relationships, literally. So let's talk about it.
Would y'all help y'all kids hide the body? Would y'all help y'all kids hide the body?
Please.
Would y'all? That's a good question. I would have to divine first.
Oh,
I would have to divine, but if spirit said let's go, we going, okay? Y'all better hold on to your wigs and
okay.
everything, okay? Hold on to your eyelashes. We calling everybody down, okay? If
Protecting my
spirit said
children
yes,
from another line being incarcerated is a big part of my mission. So whatever my ancestors say I can do, I will do.
yeah, if I divine on it and they be like, yep.
Okay. But just I'm with the shits and giggles.
Hello.
Okay.
Come on, get you out. Oh, hold on. I like this right here. Gentle parenting is not the same as letting your kid run amok, and I think we kind of get confused with that. Because look, we got to a point now we can't even correct our kids. We can't discipline our kids, and I see all the time how these kids be out here fighting adults, all of that, just because there's no, like, you're just scared. Let me tell you, I told my daughter the other day, because I had to correct her about something. What was her attitude, how she was responding to me? I was like, golly, are we really here? Like, I thought it happens at like 13. And I had to tell her, the way that you're talking to me is disrespectful. And honestly, she really didn't know. She just was in a funky attitude. And I said, if you got a funky attitude, I really don't want to see it. You can have it, but have it with your friends, your stuffed animals, but not with me. Okay, you can voice what it is, but then, I feel that you're getting a little disrespectful. And so, I tell her, and so she gets upset when I correct her, but I tell her I correct you because I love you, right?
Right.
Because you are a representation of me, right? You're an extension of me. So what does that make me look like if you're talking disrespectful to adult? Because what did she say? The lady was going back and forth in the aisle, and if I just say out loud, she doing too much. Now, why would you say that out loud? First of all, it was in a Dollar Tree, and you know who shop at the Dollar Tree and Walmart and stuff. And so I say to her, like, why would you even say that? First of all, that's an adult. That's one. Two, now what if she would have said something to you? Then you would have been looking at me to curse her out. And then now I got to curse her out because you was in the wrong. And I probably would say you was in the wrong. And so I had to tell. And so one of the ladies was like, you telling her right, because, my mother would just slap me in my face and told me not to cry. And so I was like, my mother too. I've been slapped a lot and said, do not cry. And so I tell my daughter, it's not, I don't want to beat on you. This ain't slavery and things like that. But there's things that you have to learn to be a productive adult, to be a representation of Olodumare, to be a representation of me. Fuck that shit. Like, you are representing me as well. And so don't speak back to an adult. There's certain things that, and so that's just how it has to happen. Now, I'm going to talk to you a few times, and I'm going to explain to you why it is I'm telling you need to do this or that or that or this. Now, if you still trying to test the waters, then I have to call, step it up a little notch, and then we're going to have to, go to the left, and then I'm pretty sure you'll understand. But now I just take stuff away from her. I take her phone away from her. You would think that they say your mama dead and she at the funeral. She rolling on the floor crying and shit. So
that phone is...
That's why your kids, because sometimes you ain't got to whoop on them. Take them phones and them tablets away. The teacher will be calling. The kids came to school so depressed. What happened? Because I took that motherfucking electronics away. Is there any abuse? No, they ain't got no phone. That's what it is. Sometimes you ain't got to yell at the kid. You could take them electronics away, and it save you hurting your hands, hurting your throat.
Yeah.
All of that, putting your blood pressure high.
Listen, I am the gully auntie, right? Like, I'm gonna be very honest about the situation and what you're presenting and how it appears and how it would appear to someone who you don't know, right? Like, I'm just gonna have those conversations. Like, I have a lot of nieces, so this is a thing, right? Like, this is a conversation. You have to, like, you're appearing to be a very fake person right now. Like, you kind of just have to pull their card sometimes. That's how I do things, because that's how it happened for me. Like, my mama would pull my card, she would pull my friend's card, she would do these random things and be like, yeah, that's my mom. She ain't wrong though, right? Like, so for me, I've been in a situation with a previous partner where he's like, do you want to just talk to him? Absolutely. Don't ask me to whoop your kid, because I'm not going to do it. We're going to have a conversation. That's going to make him cry. I don't want to do none of those things. Like, I just want him to learn the lesson, right? Like, threatening, telling you is enough. Like,
what about the kids that you see all the time? Like, these kids that just like,
some kids need to be.
You can look at kids and just look like he's bad as hell.
No,
them kids. Like,
look at some kids and how they out here talking bad, cussing adults out, and don't know how to act like they ain't got no home sense, no home training.
Disrespecting the
Like, you
elders.
want to snatch these kids up and just, what is your problem, right? Like how the lady down the street would do to you when you was growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to do that nowadays, but we can't because of laws and things like that. If there was more of a village, I feel, and this is a part of parenting, I feel like if there still was that village mentality, we wouldn't have to worry about having this conversation right now. But that village mentality is non-existent. And so someone checking somebody's kid could result in that person being murdered or a fight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many levels when it comes to it. But I do feel like some of these kids need to be snatched up. Period. They do. They be out of pocket and out of line, and they don't got no home training.
No basic training.
Up is like
no basic, no good morning.
Let them know what it is.
But and I get what you say, because there were times where the neighbor could joke you up and things like that, and now you can't even do this. So it's just a basic disrespect for just authority as well. Like yesterday, we was at the bus stop, and my daughter told me she tired. Okay, I get it. You was at the schoolhouse all day, but it's these 3 elderly ladies coming. One has like a little rolling thing. And I made Abijah get up. She told me, I'm tired. I said, but you're able-bodied. You too young to be talking about you're tired. Wait till you get my age, and wait till you get to their age, and you say that, I'm tired. And so the lady was like, no, she don't have to get up. No, she's getting up, because I was taught that you give up your seat for your elders. These are elderly people. It's just basic respect. And you see it all the time. You see women standing up, and it be boys, young boys, that don't even give up their seat, for the elderly people. So it does start with home, but it's also, I told my daughter to stand up. She was mad at me. I said, at the end of the night, I said, you survived, right? She woke up this morning. I said, you still alive, right? Stand up. When you see an elderly person, no one, not me, but someone like elderly, you make sure there's a seat that they need to sit down. You get up, and that is just basic respect for your elders. People don't even know what the word elder is. They don't know what an elder is. They say, is that Elmo cousin? It's elder, Elmo cousin. They don't know the word.
It's not Elmo's cousin. Again, village mentality is missing from our Black community structure and the Black family. Like, literally knowing what an elder is, even if you don't have grandparents in your family, your auntie, your uncles, great aunts, all of them, cousins 10 plus years older than you. They're all
the elders trying to be their friend. The elders are 35. Okay. It's like we're in the same.
Yeah, we're in this young elders generation.
Young elders, and they're trying to be friends.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be nobody's friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, girl, we're elders as far as they're concerned. Yeah, we are elder. That is true, child. Because I was born in the 1900s. Okay, my daughter's like, I wish I was born in the 1900s so I could have pizza, pizza parties. Girl, like, can you 19? Like, what is this? What is going on? Okay, shoot.
My baby swear I'm old. I'd be like, okay, Carmen.
I'm like, girl, quiet as is kept. We 25 years apart, okay? And my goal is, when I'm 50 and my daughter 25, I want them to be like, is that your sister? The little girl did it the other day. She was like, Abijah, is that your sister? She was like, no, that's my mom. She was like, she looked young. I promise you. I wouldn't lie. I was like, it has begun. Thank you, okay, because I don't want to look like nobody me mom. Okay, they're like, dang, your mom look. Oh, I want to be 50. I'm like, dang, about your sister look good. What college she go to? It's like, that's my mom. Okay, okay, y'all hear me? Make it happen. Let me just let me practice myself.
I remember those comments about my mom. When I was young, I used to hate them, but I get it though. My mom was fly. She's little small, little petite thing with a big old booty, right? Pretty, like, I get it. But the comments about my mom, please just keep them to yourself.
Just keep them to yourself. That be me and my mom. We be in the mall. I never forget, y'all. We was in the mall shopping Christmas. It was for Christmas. Little young boys. I'm talking about young, like to the point where I'm looking at them like, you a baby. If you don't get away from me. But I get approached by young guys anyway. I guess because I'm small, so they think I'm a lot younger. But they, what's up with you and your sister though? What's up with you and your girl? You know what I'm talking about? Boy, if you don't get away from me, he talking crazy. First of all, that's my mama. Second of all, you about what, all of 20? You can't do nothing for me, baby. Nothing. Have a good day though. And they like so crazy, but she be eating it up. Mama be eating it up. Like you heard me saying, I
Listen,
don't
we
give
gonna
a
let
fuck.
mama live. We gonna let mama live. Okay. I'm sure we got some egg-based story time. But right now is not the time for the egg-based story time, I'm sure. I got some stories. But yes, so let's see, is there anything else to add to um self-love or soft parenting or attentive parenting or being a strict parent?
Yeah, no, I just do what works for me. What works for me may not work with you for you. I know I ain't gonna about to be stressed as a parent because of what society say. Okay, I know what works with me and my household. And so I feel like this. I know I talk about prayer a lot, but this is like something that I always pray about. And I always ask, not only the spirits that guide me, but the spirits that guide my daughter, because she has her own, destiny to keep us in alignment, keep me in alignment so I can keep her in alignment, so I can, be the mother that she needs to be. I might think I know what kind of mother I should be, but spirit is like, no, you might need to do this. You might need to try this way, So I'm always in contact with the spirit, talking to spirit, going to spirit, going to my pot, crying about things, And let me tell you, spirit, I have learned that spirit has like come through. So I have been just praying over her, praying for me so that I'm being led with my actions and things like that. Because sometimes, I can be I can move with a lot of bullshit, and so the kid don't need that. What is best for her kid. So being in contact with my child's spirits that walk with her so they can teach me how I should be able to love her, teach me how I should be able to talk to her, guide her, give me nudges on what I should pray for. Give me nudges when I know she lying, because her spirits be telling me that when she be lying and things like that. So also just being in contact with her spirits, because I want to work smarter, not harder. I don't want to, whatever spirit is telling me I need to do with her, I have learned fast to be obedient to it. So that's just me. I listen to spirit, okay? And I pray for spirit, and I'd be like, spirit, check me too, okay? Shut me up, tame my tongue. How about me not go to that schoolhouse today? So yeah.
I feel that you do what works for you. So does that mean, Priestess Omo Sule, that you and Abijah have a level of understanding of like what happens in this house stays in this house? Like, have you got to that point where you've had to have that conversation with her where she don't be telling
Yeah,
you?
child, yeah, because she be talking all the time.
Is that still a thing? I'm just asking
No,
you.
no, no. So there is, just as kids, just as in general, like my child, my daughter be, I don't want to say my daughter and I, we talk a lot. I will say that. And so I do tell her, especially when it goes in other people's house too. If it's nothing bad, I don't need to know people got mice in their house. Like it's fine, okay. Like she be like, oh, such if this had a mouse in their house, it's okay, ma'am. But not really. But there's big. Text me with the bigger things. So when there was a time where she was just telling everything, and I had to tell her like, no, what happens in this house, stay in this house, and I couldn't even believe that I was fucking saying this shit. But also too, I know that it was coming from a good place. It's not coming, I'm whooping your ass and you can't tell nobody. It's no, this is what's going on in this house, and don't do it. And so even there's been times where I had to like get on her, whoop her, and I'm like, okay, you ain't got to go to school and tell them I whooped you, but I bet you won't act up no more. They probably gonna know what happened, okay? So yeah, I've had to teach her to do just for safety stuff too. It's just a whole safety thing. It's not to hide anything, but it is correct. Ain't none of y'all motherfucking business.
That
So I have taught her that, and she has. Yes, we've had that conversation now, and I can't even believe we was having that conversation because I hated when my mom had that conversation with me. But yeah, we have been on it. What goes in this house, stay in this house. But
Yeah,
this is a house of love anyway. So this is a
right.
life
That's what I was
love.
gonna just. I was
You
just.
know how my house is.
I'm not asking that question to be facetious, just
No.
because in some households there is a lot of abuse that happens, and so that definitely needs to get brought to the light, right? Like, but when we're parenting our children, like, I don't feel like it's necessarily everybody's business to come in and weigh in on what type of parenting you're doing or your style of parenting or how they would prefer to do things, because that's not their household. So like I totally am in agreement with you when it comes to like I do what works for me, right? Like I'm a community auntie and mom, so I learn from everybody and everybody's experiences and learn what not to do. So when the time comes when I do, bring someone through my portal, I will know all the ways and all the things, right?
Because there's really no rule book to this shit. It's really trial and error and through spirit for real that these kids still alive for real, for real. Like it's really trial and error because what got me in the line, in line as a kid, it's I wouldn't even do it for my daughter, so what might works for some people just be like go sit in the corner. Okay, my friend told his kid go sit in the corner. I seen it on the FaceTime, and little boy was screaming, talking about he wanted his mommy, and I was like, golly, you're doing a good job, I guess, I guess. But after that second time screaming, I'll be like, hold up now, what's going on? So you have to do what works for you because there's no rule book, and then you see how your kids respond to certain things as well, right? And so I think sometimes we forget that this is it's not a dictatorship. This is a collaboration. This is love. You're building something with your kids. It's not, you do what I say and sit the fuck down and shut up. It's like, no, we're building and we're building off of love. So that's my take. Okay.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of my mouth, because I was thinking like it's really trial and error. It's literally we figuring out day by day as we go. And then because things change, they grow up. They change day by day. So sometimes what I'm recognizing is what worked for Carmen one day might not work for her the next day. What worked for her the next day might not work for her for the days coming up ahead. So it's constant adapting with them. So my parenting style has to adapt. My attitude has to adapt. And she has to adapt to me. I think, it's a time and place for, I think it just required balance. Like sometimes gentle parenting, I think, is what's most appropriate, especially if I'm seeing that whatever is going on with my child, it's a real struggle for her. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not gonna kick you while you down and talk to you crazy or really get hard on you, because right now this is a moment for me to take advantage of where you at right now. Let's talk calmly. Let's talk to understand. Let me listen to understand. Like at this point, I want you to tell me what's going on. So I do try to, balance it out, because some days that gentle parenting shit ain't gonna work. It just ain't gonna cut it. Like some days she just really might be in rare form. Y'all know how it's some kids that you could say, sit down. Okay, but sit down. Please sit down. I'm asking you nicely. Just have a seat. Just please sit down. And then it's not until you be like, sit the fuck down, that they hop and sit, and it just be like, okay. It's like, why you even had to take it there? Like I shouldn't have had to talk to you like that. I don't know if I conditioned you when I didn't know no better, and now that's about one of the only things you really respond to, or if that's just your personality, just wanting to edge it and just see. Like sometimes it be those days, and I'm striving to do better and get us to a point where I don't have to ever go there. I don't have to ever say that. But there are days where that's what works.
And
And you know it, and
I
I know it.
agree. I'm a second that too. I just want to second that too, Priestess, because I know that sometimes we might feel bad, like, damn, I got to do all of that. And then we're like questioning ourselves. And I might have said that rough, but we see they set their ass down, right? So I just wanted to, second that, Priestess, is just like give yourself grace, because you see it what works, and then it's not like you're yelling at her the whole time all throughout the day. There's day that's filled with love and compassion and, things like that you want for you and your child. But sometimes you're going to have to say, sit the fuck down right now. Okay. Like, I hate to say that. So I give yourself grace with that, Priestess. I totally agree. And it seems like Jamie also agrees as well. Like, we are trying. And so I just want to say to you, to Priestess, because I know you're trying, you're doing an excellent job. You are doing an excellent job. And I just see Carmen, and you got this, sis. You got this. And the good thing about it, you got a village too. You too, Priestess, when you start popping them out too, you got the village, okay? Now,
Right.
I won't babysit when they newborns and stuff. We bring them when they like 5 or something like that.
Yeah, when they can talk, right? No, I feel that for sure. I feel that. Okay, so we're winding down. I think our last question for the evening just is, what are some ways you implement self-love into your daily routine? What are some tips we can give our viewers on how to implement self-love in their daily routine, like their daily life, to impact their parenting style with their children?
Those that's in the coven, you already know. You already know. You wake up and you do your what? Ibashes. Let me tell you, if that is not a practice of self-love, I don't know, for those who do it, that's in the coven, and when you don't do that, it just be like your shit, like the earth be rattling and stuff. You are like just all out of whack. And so I would exactly. So I would say, I'm just going, and I'll let you go, else, Priestess, because I just want to say that when you are doing a spiritual regimen, you're waking up, you're praying, you're tapping into your aura, you're tapping into spirit for the day, so it can set the foundation of your day. That is self-love, unless you like just a world full of chaos and fuckery and things of that sort. I have learned that's worked with me. I have a better day. My daughter have a better day. And I'm like, okay, this worked. Thank you, Ia. Let me continue. Go ahead, Priestess Star.
No, I was agreeing.
Now, I would definitely say praying is like, it makes all the difference, right? Like you just said, some days it's just like, some days I don't even know what all I prevented from ever reaching me, because I got up and I talked to who and what I needed to talk to get my day going. So it just allowed me to be in a better space for the rest of the day. But also, another thing I feel like really works for me sometimes is just silence, just taking a second to just be present with myself. It really helps you to refocus or recenter yourself, especially when you're a person that's really busy and got a lot going on all the time. I'm here, I'm there, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got this to do, and we know how it is in the priestess life. You constantly have something to do, you know what I mean? So making time to just sit in silence and just be present with yourself, even if it's just for 5 minutes, setting your clock on your phone for 5 minutes to just give you a second to just breathe and just be present with you. I find that to be very valuable too. Like I do it so much now because we got busy lives sometimes, especially if you're a person with a big family. It's you don't always have time to yourself. I don't even listen to the radio anymore. I can't tell you when the last time I really turned the radio on. I ride legit in silence. It be me and my thoughts and my prayers wherever I'm going. Cutting the radio on now is just weird for me. Like, I do it for somebody else. Like Carmen might say, "Can you cut the music on?" But I'd be like, "Girl, you don't even know. This is my little meditation time." I be in my own thoughts, or sometimes I just quiet my thoughts and I just want silence. And if all I need to hear is them tires on the road, this is my little 5-minute commute that I get to do that. So, just be present with you sometimes. Treat yourself, whatever it is that you enjoy, take a moment at times to really treat yourself and not feel guilty about that.
And I think we talked about that, but personally, how I've been implementing self love, my village. I do not hesitate to call my village. I am not a burden. Thank you so much. Okay, if I need especially now because those that my daughter's father's like gone and stuff, like going more often, not going to see Uncle Charles, um, but I will say that his family is very helpful, and so I have prayed for a community, a village that would be able to help me when I need it. So let me tell you, I don't hesitate to be like, can I need it's been a rough week or whatever. Can you take her for a few days or something like that? I personally, I have been I've noticed for me working out. Now, it's funny when you pray for things because I was praying for, just strategically, it's a lot being a parent, right? You worked her for a certain amount of time a day, then you got to go pick up the kids and things of that sort. And I'm getting off at 6. The latest I can pick up my daughter is 6, that type of thing. And so I was praying for, opportunities or people to come into my life to make things easier, right? Praying for better conditions. So better conditions has appeared itself just because I want my life to be better, right? So now, look, I get to work at 7:45. So what do? I go work out. I work out. And I feel better throughout the night. My body hurting, but I already know that tootie gonna be what? Booty, okay? My booty gonna be tooted. So that's something that I've been doing as well. I know everyone don't have the opportunity to be able to work out, and I didn't either. But I was able to pray for conditions where I'm able to pour into myself because I realized, like, okay, I may not be eating as healthy. I may not be as active sitting at the desk all day. And then when I leave, it's like, I don't have time to work out. So I've been praying for conditions. So that's something that I've learned. So now that, there's a pathway that's been open and clear for me to be more active physically, I took that. I was like, okay, I'll take it. And so working out has been the best for me. Now, if we're going to take it to another extreme, okay, I'm gonna pray for a motherfucking vacation. I ain't gonna lie to you. If it gets to that point, and I'm telling you, y'all might think I'm crazy. There are times because when you have a child, and you want to go on vacation, you have to be strategic. You have to find sitters, reliable sitters. If the kid go to school, how the kid gonna go back and forth to school? Oh, the kid's an extracurricular. So not only you have to drop them off for school, but now you gotta do dance. So it's strategically, it can be a lot. And let me tell you, when I get an idea about a vacation, I'm open, I'm clearing opening roads. I'm asking for prosperity, abundance in this situation. And let me tell you, that joint be out. So people are like, how you get to go on vacations and stuff? Let me tell you, my village. Move all that stuff out the way. I want, it's gonna take a couple of months to plan and things like that. But that's where you start to put in your spiritual work to make things happen, to make conditions happen. You start, going in your spiritual tools and your arsenals to make your life better and praying for conditions. So, if you don't have, opportunities to work out or do things that you might want to do as far as self-care as a parent, start praying for opportunities and for you to position yourself so that you can have opportunities to maybe travel, opportunities to spend that 5 minute, maybe the kid might want to go to the neighbor's house and play Roblox or something. You trust the neighbor, and that could be your hour of something. Just pray for conditions, because what you think might be your self-love, what you need for self-love, spirit's like, no, you need this. So let me help you with this. So like I said, I'm still learning what works for me. Also, I learned stop eating bullshit. Stop eating. It makes you feel so much better. I know it makes me more alert with my child. I have more energy. I'm less lethargic. So those are also some things that has helped me that I've recently, within the last couple of years have been definitely trying to implement. And like I said, it's a lifelong journey. What works for you today, what you think you need for self-love today, hopefully, because you evolve and shit, you won't even need that few years down the line, and you could just build and build and build, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I think I witnessed a lot of different things from people and how they actually like incorporate self-love, like how you're talking about. you schedule these vacations and you do all your spiritual things up to that point of you actually going on that vacation. Like, I'm sure in the meantime, between time, you still get your other breaks in, right? Like, I think some ways that parents can really incorporate self-love in their daily routine is, like Priestess Ifajoke said, having a moment to yourself. Like, literally schedule in time for you to play Monopoly if that's what makes your heart happy, right?
You know,
Schedule
Monopoly is like a 10-hour game. That game is like 10 hours.
if you
Okay.
need 10 hours to
Wow.
unwind, take that 10 hours to unwind. Okay. Like, there's no limit to how much love you need to give yourself to be able to be present for your offspring. Like, sometimes you need that 3 hour long bath. You need that you need your child to be with their parent for several days for you to fully be charged, right? For you to do these things for yourself, because taking care of home is taking care of your children, but also taking care of yourself is taking care of your children. So it's like, we need that balance. So I think I definitely agree with everything that has been said, because I'm, like I said, like, I don't sit here to claim to be anybody's mama, but I am a community auntie and I do care for people's children. Um, and I prioritize my self-love. Like, right now, this is self-love for me. Having this conversation, doing these things, building up my community, it's a part of my self-love. So I prioritize these things, even though the little ones, they're on their way here right now for the weekend. So I prioritize the things that are important for me with knowing what I have coming up. And for some other parents, what I see them do different things. Like, they'll plan things for in advance. Like, they'll have like a ladies night, or they'll have their self-care time, or they'll take their stuff out to eat, or, while doing these other things, they're scheduling in the little things for themselves so that they can be present, is what I've witnessed the most. And also a lot of working out. My One of my sisters, Marissa, she will go to the gym at midnight if she has to, after her last shift for the day, because that's what her self-love regimen is requiring right now. Her self-love is requiring her to go to the gym every opportunity she has. Her children are a little bit older, but she has 3 kids, right? And now she has also a little young brother who's like 1. So she's caring for her brother and her children. So it's like, I'm seeing her and how she implements these things. Like, she'll plan going to the beach for the day, or maybe she'll just take off. If it's her day off and she doesn't have nothing on the schedule, the kids are off doing their thing, she will skedaddle and go do something, be in her own space, go find something unique to walk around and participate in. And I just admire that so much after watching her be a young mom and raise children and do all these things. It's nice to see the different aspects of self-love and how people incorporate these things. So I think there's so many different levels and ways that we can incorporate self-love. Are there any other tips? Does anybody in the chat have anything other
Having
than
goals too. Goals, having goals for yourself, and also, being kind with yourself, being realistic with yourself when you set these goals, right? Because Priestess, you said how your friend, would go to the gym at midnight, right? So I know when I was turning 30, I had like this bucket list. And one of the things was I wanted to run a half marathon, right? I didn't know how I was going to do this half marathon, because just between my work schedule and then, my child, this was like years ago, not giving my age. And so I had to schedule it and I was running around DC at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't recommend that, but Spirit was like, come on now, she a fool. Come on, y'all. I know they'd be like, all right, come on, look at this fool. But I was able to reach my goal, right? So, that's probably like an extreme, example. But also too, having goals. Sometimes we tend to forget about ourselves and the things that we want to accomplish or we wanted to accomplish because we have kids. right? Yeah, it might be strategically a little bit more difficult, but also too not giving up on your goals. So one of my goals, like I said, I wanted to do a half marathon, and I was able to train and things of that sort. So, and then being, realistic with your goals as well. And then if you don't reach the goals, having grace for yourself to be like, because it's not going to be the end of the world, but having grace with yourself to be like, you know what Aaliyah say, first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Like just try again. So I believe in having personal goals that's away from family. I have goals for my kids. I have goals that I want for my family, but then I have personal goals because sometimes as parents, we tend to merge everything together, and it's for the family, but it's not for you.
Definitely. Mika said meditation. I don't see anything else in the chats. So if there's no other comments, we'll go ahead and start winding down. If everyone would be so kind to issue some love offerings to the priestesses, that would be so much appreciated.
Because we know y'all for real, okay? Because we all be sharing these gems and things on a Friday. I ain't got no man to be laying up under, so it wasn't gonna be like I was laying up anybody on a Friday night. But my daughter do got homework that's due tonight, so I did spend some time with you guys.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys took some gems from this, and hopefully if you have any more questions, you can reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely reach out if you have any questions. And I think one thing just to say really quickly, the importance of doing these lives and having these conversations is to add community, right? And to let you all know that you're not alone in this, and that a lot of us have a lot of the same experiences. And so we have these conversations to add to the community, right? So thank you all for joining us and adding to the chat and asking questions and being vulnerable and bold to share your personal stories. Like, that is definitely appreciated.
And thank you, Priestess Ifajoke, for agreeing to come on.
Yes, thank you.
This whole public speaking thing. Let me tell you, I didn't like it at all. When it was like, you guys start teaching classes, I was like, who, me? Who's trying to spirits around me? Okay. And so I didn't like public speaking. I still don't like it, but I'm gonna be obedient to spirit. So I thank you so much for agreeing to do this and have this conversation with us. You always bring the gems, and you're such a beautiful spirit. So thank you so much, Egbe.
Anytime. I love getting up here and having this conversation with you guys. It just, it feels good. We're a family. So it just feels like, I'm chopping it up with my sisters about real life things. And the community get to watch and benefit from it also. So I think that's just dope all the way around. But thank you both so much for the invite.
Thank you both for being here, my beautiful egg base. I love y'all so very much.
Do you know where to find us? Do they know? Are you on Facebook? Are you on the Facebook one? I'm only going to post to the YouTube, but I wanted to do a plug. If y'all want to find out what we're doing, okay, because let me tell you, we are 3 different women from 3 different walks of life. We've never known each other prior to. We live in different states, okay, different time zones, okay, and we are together, and these are my sisters, and we have grown together. We have had beautiful experiences together. We are, just think of where we were a year from now. Okay. I mean, a year ago, excuse me. And just think about where we're going to be a year from now. Ooh, spirit going to blow our minds. But just think of where we were last year, this time, and where we are now. So I just want to say that, go to orishahoodoo.com to really learn about what it is that we're doing. We are not only, stepping in power for ourselves, but we are changing the DNA of our bloodline. Okay. We are reconstructing genealogies. We are breaking ancestral curses and things of that sort. And we get to do it with real people, real priestesses that are doing the work and that are invested in reconstructing our bloodline. So go to orishahoodoo.com to learn about what we're doing. to learn about our godmother, who we have the opportunity to study under, who has been guiding us, the Reverend Priestess Oshun Funke. And then you can follow me on Facebook, which is Omo Sule. Follow me, like and subscribe here on my YouTube as well, Omo Sule. Go to our Facebook group, Orisha Hoodoo. I'm about to say OrishaHoodoo.com. Orisha Hoodoo Institute, Witchcraft for Black Americans. And then, go ahead and filter through to the Melanated Witchcraft group. Just leave the bullshit out the group. Okay. Anything you want to put plugs in, Priestess? Oh, and then also check out my classes too, because I'm teaching y'all how to protect y'all kids. I'm teaching y'all how to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. I have a mother-child spiritual bath. Okay. So go to OmoShule/OrishaHoodoo.com. Okay, sorry. My plug done.
Okay, so I am on Facebook. Yimiya's Inclinations is my spiritual offerings boutique, so you can definitely follow me there. And on Instagram, Yimiya's_inclinations. I am Olaia Ifajoke on Facebook, so you'll see me in these Facebook streets. Also, don't forget, go ahead and like and subscribe to my brand new YouTube channel, please. Spiritual Offerings with Priestess Olaia Ifajoke. We'll be talking about all the things, okay? Priestess Ifajoke, do you have any plugs?
Just quick little follow. My Facebook name is Ifajoke Ogun Leru. Same for Instagram. It's Ifajoke_Ogun Leru. Cash App, hashtag Priestess Teens. So feel free to follow. Try to drop some wisdom every now and again when I have time to be on social media, but also following our, like Priestess Omo Sule said, following our Facebook page. I mean, we have a lot of information in the files. We have books. We have a lot of things for you guys to access and utilize and take advantage of as far as resources, especially if you're new to these spiritual streets. But thank you again for having me.
Yes, thank you all. We'll be catching you guys, and not next week, but the week after for our third in the series. We'll be talking about some more self-love, and then the next time we'll be talking about careers and what that looks like.
Because y'all be out here working for the man and not, for a basic little, $1.15 an hour and stuff. And what Ia said, and then your kids got to let themselves in and cook noodles and shit. And then you out here working for the man. But, we'll leave that for the next time. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I am Priestess Olaia Ifajoke.
And I am Priestess Omo Sule. And like I always say, pray with me, don't play with me.
Okay.
Bye.
Peace.